the behalf of Diamanium Thinkers, a global think tank. It is a non-partisan and non-biased sort of research organization where we have very esteemed scholars and of national level. Let me introduce with Dr. Saeed Uzzaman Sahab. Dr. Saeed Uzzaman is PhD in International Relations and currently HOD in NUML, Rawalpindi. He has authored a very excellent book, I would say, on technology and warfare sort of thing by the Routledge. And then he used to appear a lot on the mainstream media. This shows his ability and the way he's famous in his circle. So we welcome you, sir. Very nice of you. And
thank you so very much for having me.
And sir, it's our pleasure to have you in our team, sir.
Thank you.
Then we will go to sir. Thank you. Then we'll go to Dr. Sajid Iqbal. Dr. Sajid Iqbal, again a PhD in International Relations and very esteemed scholars, particular expertise in Afghanistan and the regional atmosphere right now that we are going in the Middle East, and very closely related with the topic we are having today. He also appears a lot on mainstream media. This shows his credibility that media houses and they urge and want him to be there because of his intellectual and to the point rational analysis. And our third participant, Azhar Waqar Saab, he is also a PhD scholar and lecturer in NUML. It's a very great pleasure for this organization, Diamanium Thinkers, that we are starting this series to enlighten ourselves first, and then to other that what's going on in the region, particularly with regard to the Middle East, the Iran-US-Israel war, and likewise its effects on the geopolitics, geo-economics, and society. I think we should give it a formal start now. And Dr. Saeed Saab, I would request you to please enlighten us briefly upon the situation of the Middle East linked with Iran, Israel, US war. And particularly, I would like you to enlighten us with the perspective of geopolitics. How do you see the strategic alliances will become? And how it actually started, like how you can decipher the whole situation.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Janzeb. I'm grateful to Diamanium Thinkers, to you and all the, your team members for the kind invitation. I'm feeling humbled to be part of this worthy panel, sharing panel with Dr. Sajid Khattak and Dr. Azhar Waqar. So for sure, I've learned a lot from you guys. So I'm feeling great to be part of this panel, sharing with you. Okay, this US, Israel and Iran war. This is one of the significant geopolitical development of the contemporary times. We know that this Middle East, it's difficult to generalize something about Middle East. I mean to say, if we critically look into historical patterns, be that geopolitical or geo-economic or even societal, we come to understanding that there is so much diffusion, so many factors are there, and to generalize something about Middle East, it's really complex. It's really difficult. Nevertheless, this war which started like 3 weeks back, today we are in the 20th day. It has brought chaos and destruction to Middle East. It has, this war is not just between 2 or 3 parties. It has engulfed the whole region, whole Middle Eastern region, and it can impact, and it has in fact impact the whole world, particularly related to global supply chain. Now, when the war started, Israel strike Tehran, launch surgical strikes, I would say massive surgical strikes, and then United States of America joined Israel. Iran retaliated back. Iran initially, launched strikes against Tel Aviv. And then with the passage of time, as the conflict moved on, so they started to strike American military installations across the Gulf. So yeah, the war spread. Thanks to the Gulf countries, they didn't retaliate it back for sure. It was matter of this violation of territorial sovereignty, which is very much near and dear to every state. Nevertheless, they didn't, retaliate it back or launched defensive or offensive operations against Iran. However, this US and Israel, what they have done, they employed brute force based on offensive approach. When I say brute force, so it means massive use of force, and this massive use of force is employed when the parties intends to change in the status quo. And that we can relate to, one of the famous books of on IR and strategy, that is Arms and Influence, authored by Thomas C. Schelling. It was published in 1966. So in that book, it is mentioned that when you want to change the status quo, so you employ brute force. So, and this is very much evident with respect to President Trump speech too. He stated that we will be going for complete annihilation. So complete annihilation means complete elimination. And this elimination means change in status quo, change in the regime. Now, up till now, United States of America and Israel, despite, targeting the top leadership of Iran and the current regime, current government, managing the affairs in Tehran. So United States and Israel, they failed to change the regime up till now, despite that massive use of force. I mean to say more than 7,000 targets were hit across Iran. This is massive. If we think about it and critically think about it, this is massive employment of force. On the other hand, if you look into Iran also, employed brute force, but based on defensive approach. Yes, they attacked their neighboring countries, Gulf countries, which was a sort of dangerous escalation. And now they have even, Israel first targeted, energy installations in Iran, and then Iran counter-strike, the energy installations in Gulf countries, particularly Qatar. We know that Qatar is basically exporting 20% of, 20% of LNG. So now, if we link this to geo-economics first, I mean to say the Strait of Hormuz, 20% of the oil is exported through, this strait, this choke point. 25 to 30% of the, 20 to 25 or 25 to 30% basically is the statistics. Basically, we need to look into it. So that is basically related to global supply chain. So there is complete disruption. European Union, Chinese, the stakeholders across the world, they basically are dependent upon this, Strait of Hormuz. So it is blocked now. So if it is blocked, so this means that this will result in global recession. It will impact on international political economy hugely, massively. And at the same time, this Strait of Hormuz, it will, for me, this is my assumption. I don't have empirical evidence for it, but this is my assumption that this blockage of Strait of Hormuz can result in use of nuclear weapon. I hope and I pray that this because if this will happen, so this will be a chaos not only for the region but for the world. But as World Health Organization, they are preparing themselves for this catastrophic event. Yes, they have stated that we cannot mitigate the threat. Nevertheless, they are preparing for this catastrophe. If this happens, this will be a massive blow for the world. Now, if we link it to geopolitics, so geopolitically, I think that there are certain winners and others are losers. And when I say winners, so I think that United States of America, keeping in view the oil resources which they have, the world is approaching, particularly European Union, they are approaching United States of America for oil, and United States of America controls the energy resources of Venezuela and and other stakeholders in the region, multinational corporations. So I think that they are winner in that specific context. And along with the United States of America, the other winner is like Russia. And for sure, United States of America allowed India to purchase oil from Russia. So Russia, on one hand, is now exporting oil and energy to the world. On the other hand, focusing more on Ukraine. The third winner is China. China is the real winner. On one hand, China is enjoying stability. On the other hand, purchasing oil on cheap rates from different stakeholders, including these, Gulf countries. And at the same time, engagement of United States of America and Middle East is beneficial for China because now China will focus more on Taiwan and the South China Sea. So I think these are the clear winners. And who are losers? So for sure, Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, these are the countries, Bahrain, these are losers. And why I'm saying so? Because it's like three weeks are ending now. Huge losses to their economy, security situation. These Gulf countries were enjoying, this economic stability and economic growth based on stability. They don't have stability now. So on one hand, Iran has lost not only their top leadership, but more than 7,000 strikes. And this instability, one never know where this war will head up to. Chaos, destruction is there in Middle East. So I think that to conclude, I think that on one hand, we will be witnessing multipolar global energy system. On the other hand, we will be looking into militarization of choke points. And then at the same time, we will be, for sure, this world will be witnessing serious global recession, impacting drastically on international political economy, not only due to this energy, but also due to this instability. So yes, this war is catastrophic, and in this 21st century, in this 2026, this is sheer embarrassment for humanity. Thousands of human beings, innocent people, have been killed in Gaza war, in Russia-Ukraine conflict, now in this Iran war, and here in South Asia too. Earlier it was this India-Pakistan conflict, now Pakistan-Afghanistan conflict. So world is in chaos. And it is the responsibility of the international stakeholders and the global community, particularly China and European Union and important Muslim countries like Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. They need to play their part to stop this war, not only this war, but all wars which are happening right now, in order to bring stability in the world. Otherwise, the catastrophic consequences will be faced by all stakeholders. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saeed Saab, for so holistic and comprehensive analysis, particularly the way you link geopolitics with geoeconomics. It's obviously the core of the thing, the geoeconomics and the geopolitics, they are interplaying actually. And the way you highlighted the stakeholders, who are the winners and who are the losers, absolutely the picture is very much clear, the way you have explained. Now we'll move towards Dr. Sajid Iqbal Saab. Sir, please can you enlighten us about the situation? Dr. Saeed Saab already comprehensively explained and analyzed the situation. I would like to, if you have any other alternative perspective, or do you want to link it with any sort of theoretical perspective, It would be a great insight for us to understand it.
Good evening, everyone. And Janzeb, thank you so much for providing us this platform. And we usually speak on different platforms, but this time we are feeling like we are speaking at home and we are speaking on our own forum. And I was, very much curious about this meeting because I wanted to speak from my heart. Usually, when we appear on television or when we speak in different forums, so there are certain constraints, and those constraints usually do not allow us to speak from the heart, due to different reasons. Said Saab has very, laboriously described the situation, and indeed the issue or the conflict in the Middle East is very devastating, is very dangerous. But I would like to, provide an alternative, a different lens to look into it. We need to understand that, in social sciences, things are very much subjective, and there is always a room for different interpretation. Um, my sense is that, if we look into the international system or international order after the Second World War, we have seen that slowly and gradually the United States of America, they tried to influence each and every corner of the world, be that Africa, be that Europe, be that Asia, and particularly in the Islamic world, almost all, I would say, almost all Muslim states are in line with the, you can say, with the objectives, with the aspirations, or with the policies of the United States of America. If we look into the case of, if I can individually mention few of the international actors like Turkey, it is a member of the NATO organization, military alliance. Uh, if we look into Saudi Arabia, these are the two important, Islamic countries in the world. Both of these countries are very much aligned with the US foreign policy, or we can say with the US global program, global order. Same is the case with, other regional countries. Since our topic is focused on the Middle East, Iran war, so although I can talk about the Central Asian states, I can talk about the Muslim states in Africa, but particularly if we talk about the countries that are surrounding Iran, I do not see any country, any state which is posing any serious challenge, any serious threat to the US led world order. In fact, they are the very drivers, they are the very actors of the US world order. And in fact, they have provided bases to the United States military. The whole region is full of American bases, and we are the only country which historically has declined the US hegemony, which historically has said no to the US influence in the region, is Iran. There is no question about that. Now, if we see worldwide, any country which is not accepting the terms and conditions set by the United States of America for the international system, that country either face internal interference in their politics, and they try to change the regime and install a regime which actually accepts the American conditions, or if they fail so, then they try to opt for military intervention, and after that they try to enforce their system on that particular country. If you look into the case of Iraq in 2003, if we look into the case of Afghanistan from 2001 till 2021, and similarly Libya, recently Syria, even efforts are ongoing in Yemen. So, we see that any country which is somehow trying to say no to the American rule based order, although we call it a rule based order, but it's not a rule based order, it's actually the hegemon based order, or hegemonly you can say set rule based order. So To come to the central argument that I want to build over here is that Iran was not only challenging the American influence within Iran, rather Iran was trying to exert influence in other regional countries as well, and they were trying to challenge the American hegemony in the region. Bashar al-Assad regime, we all know the whole story in Syria. It was backed by Iran and it was also supported by Russia. There were decades of efforts were made in order to it was like a proxy between the US and Iran, a proxy between US and Russia, and finally the United States of America won this battle against Iran. And the very person who was declared as terrorist, who was declared as the main actor of Al Qaeda, he is now the leader of Syria, and he is welcomed in Saudi Arabia, he is welcomed in the United States of America. And we all know the story that the gifts that Donald Trump is providing him, and so on and so forth. Another, region, Lebanon, Hezbollah there in Lebanon. We all know the story that Hezbollah is Iran-backed organization, and it is trying to show some resistance to the Israeli hegemonic agenda or aggression in the region. Hezbollah is badly damaged over the past few years by Israel. The story is in front of us. Their leadership is targeted through different technologically driven initiatives. And another organization which is loosely backed by Iran, not fully backed by Iran, that is Hamas. And the whole picture is in front of us. Hamas is badly damaged, dented, and and Houthis in Yemen, they are being targeted and they are being, you can say, weakened from multiple fronts. So my sense is that this timing of Israel convincing the United States of America to intervene in Iran was that they thought that since we have somehow damaged the proxies of Iran or the non-state actors, which was considered as one of the strengths of Iran in the region, since they thought that we have since damaged that, so Iran will be feeling, or it will be, in a weaker state of being, and this is the right time to attack Iran, and we can, you can say, do a regime change the way they tried worldwide. So this is the historical or the contextual background that I wanted to provide, because whenever we talk of any particular global conflict, we talk of the very immediate causes, immediate effects of that particular conflict, but we somehow ignore the ontological reasons, the original crux which is actually behind this particular conflict. Now, if I can briefly talk about Israel's objectives or Israel's insecurities, or why Israel is behaving the way it is behaving, no, we all know that ontologically speaking, Israel has this security dilemma from day one. That first, they have a very small territory. Palestine is divided, and they are trying to, grab maximum territory from the Palestinians, and they are trying to increase their territory. But despite all that, the territory that Israel currently hold is not that as per their military and economic strength. Unfortunately or fortunately, Israel over the past few years, particularly after the 9/11, Israel has increased its military might, its economic might, and when your economic and military might increases, so as your aspirations to exert influence in your immediate neighborhood as well as at the global level. So Israel is not content with what they already have presently. So they want to increase their territorial hold in the region because they consider themselves as, the hegemon of the region. We do have hegemon of the world and we do have hegemon of the region. So Israel's agenda of Greater Israel is behind, originally it was a security dilemma because Israel thought that we will be eliminated by the Arab states, and they are not accepting our existence, and because it is very much clear from the statements of the Iranian leadership, from the Arab leadership, that they do not originally, or you can say initially, they were not accepting the existence of Israel or a two-state solution in the region. They wanted, the merger of Israel within a Palestinian state. Originally it started as a security dilemma and they wanted to balance the power. But since the power shifted in the favor of Israel, so now their security dilemma has converted, I mean, their defensive approach has converted into an offensive approach. And that is the reason why, Israel is trying to defeat the resistance, the axis of resistance in the region, and Israel is trying to grab more territory in the region. And some of the statements from Benjamin Netanyahu, a war criminal, have clearly portrays that he wants the Gazans to, you can say, migrate to the neighboring countries. And he even mentioned Saudi Arabia, that since Saudi Arabia has a large territory, so some of its territory can be given to the Gazans, to the Palestinians, where they can resettle. So this shows that Israel's agenda is very much clear. Now, where stands the United States of America, and why the United States of America is actually involved in the war of Israel, which is not a direct war of the United States of America? As I said, Israel consider herself as a regional hegemon, and the United States of America consider herself, in fact, it is the world hegemon. It do not consider herself, it is the world hegemon. It's a reality. And that is the reason why we are not seeing any resistance to the US immoral, unethical policies worldwide. The United States of America actually, consider Iran as a threat because they are not allowing the American oil companies to penetrate in the region, particularly in the Iranian territory. The United States of America is not, content with the Iranian proxies in the region. So there is, of course, a direct threat from Iran as well that the United States of America is facing over the past few decades. But on the other hand, Israel, as it is not no longer any anomaly, Israel, has a very major influence in the politics of the United States of America. And I was watching a very interesting TikTok account where he used to ask different policymakers in the United States that whether it is America first or Israel first. And the American policymakers hesitate to respond to that TikToker. He is very famous on TikTok. Maybe you would have come across that TikTok account. That the Jewish lobby in the United States of America, in the American politics, in the American economy, in the American Congress is so influential that they somehow control the jugular vein of the Americans. So on one hand, just to conclude my argument, on one hand, the United States of America has a direct problem with Iran, but on the other hand, majorly, Israel is convincing the United States of America that now is the right time to target Iran and bring in the regime change. Because after assassinating Ayatollah Khamenei, Benjamin Netanyahu and the United States of Americans officials, they have many times they have, you can say, have talked to or have basically addressed the Iranian people directly, and they wanted Iranian people to resist, to come against their own Iranian, you can say, government. So this shows that their agenda was a regime change in Iran. And now, if you connect all the dots that I try to, present here, from the very historical background to the very immediate factors why Israel and the US thought that is the right time to attack Iran, then you can say this whole argument makes sense. That actually it is about the Iran being the only actor in the region which is saying no to the American hegemony and the Israeli hegemony in the region. So this is why this whole war started. Now, if I can can say briefly talk about what is going to happen. Although we do not have any technology in hand that we can predict the outcome of the conflict, but apparently it looks like the Iranian military has got this ability that they would be able to resist, they would be able to retaliate even in the worst of the situation. Just recently, even today, I was listening to the Secretary of War, in the United States of America, and he said that we have targeted some 7,000 targets in one day, in 24 hours. So 7,000 targets in one day. This means that they are trying their best to damage the Iranian resolve to defend themselves. But despite all this, Iran is retaliating. So, to my understanding, the United States of America and Israel is now in a tunnel which has, no exit, and they either have to take a U-turn or they are stuck in that tunnel. And it will be, a sort of a long war, the way we have seen in Afghanistan. Even in Iraq, some people think that the United States of America has clearly achieved its objectives in Iraq. But I think that the some of the attacks that some of the groups from Iraq have carried out against the U.S. Installations shows that we still have resistance in Iraq against the United States of America. So probably the war will last. Only the only way to end this conflict at the moment is that the United States of America takes a U-turn, and when it takes a U-turn, that of course will have some consequences for the American hegemony. And many scholars, many international relations experts are already writing about the declining American hegemony worldwide, and that will be, you can say, another very very important blow uh, in the American hegemony that we will see in times to come. But for Iran, of course, we need to realize one another thing. Although emotionally, being we all being Muslims, we have this emotional attachment with Iran as well, and we try to celebrate the Iranian retaliations, but we are not trying to accept the damage that the Israel and the United States of America has done to the Iranian people and the Iranian regime. This is also a very harsh reality, that the damage that Iranians are actually taking or absorbing at the moment is far more than the damage that Iran is inflicting upon Israel and the United States of America. But nevertheless, we hope that better sense prevail. We can talk more in detail about the different factors, because it's a very multi-dimensional conflict. It has so many perspectives. It has so many angles. There is a strategic angle. There is an economic angle, which Saeed has briefly talked about, the Strait of Hormuz, so and so forth. So we cannot cover all that in a very brief period, but of course we will be available afterwards when we enter into a discussion mode. Thank you, Dr. Janzeb.
Thank you very much for such detailed insights, and particularly the way you explained the things with the timeline, going back into the history. You set a stage first, and then you talked about the contemporary situation. And with this, you also gave us some insights about the future things, that what can happen or what could not be. Thank you very much, sir, again. And now I would like to go with Mr. Azhar Waqar. Please enlighten us with your analysis, and particularly shedding light on, of course, geopolitics, geoeconomics, and how do you link it with the society of Iran and otherwise to the other Muslim, nations. The way Dr. Sajid also tried to give a hint that Muslim nations, how they are reacting, and is it like just only a geopolitical thing, or there could be a better way to solve this whole conflict within a region in a better manner. So please, Azhar Waqar sir, please.
Thank you so much for having me. Well, I'm really grateful to the leadership of the Diamanium Thinkers, especially its chief officer, Dr. Muhammad Jandev, who ran this session on this topic of the town. Well, I'm also really grateful to my friends who are sharing this panel with me. Well, coming towards the topic, I would say this conflict may be regional, but the crisis is global. Though it's quite a complex scenario, but I'll try to make it simplify, and from this simplification, then we move towards the complexity. As far as this discussion of the war is concerned, I think we can understand this war scenario in three dimensions. The one dimension is like why this war was started. What was the rationality behind this? The second present situation that who is winning, who is losing the war. That is the current scenario. And the lastly, what can be the implications of this war? Well, first I'll try to give a brief overview on this. Then I'll definitely move towards the question asked by Dr. Jandev. Well, in a very simple way, we first of all need to understand and we need to identify, which I think we are already familiar with it, that there are some stakeholders and the players who are directly or indirectly involved in this conflict. For example, first at the top, I would say it is the Israel, and then after Israel, I would rank it is the United States of America, and then at third it is Iran, and then the Arab world, especially Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. These all are the primary stakeholders, are the primary players in this game. But there are also some secondary players, are the secondary stakeholders. In secondary stakeholders, I would turn Pakistan, I would rank Pakistan as at the top. The reason we share the border with Iran, at the same time we have a defense pact with Saudi Arabia. So that makes Pakistan more sensitive in this game. Well, and then we move towards the other player. You can say it is Russia, it is China. So these players are the secondary stakeholders, or secondary players, and you can also include the Turkey in this game as well. Now, what was the reasoning behind this war? I'll try to unfold that. And when we try to understand the reasoning, we will find that there's some factors. Major themes are the major factors which are responsible for the start of this war. For instance, you see that there are some factors which are apparent, tangible, visible, or you can say that the face value factors. And we talk about the face value factors. First of all, we see, oh, there is a Netanyahu. Okay, fine. Netanyahu is responsible for this war. And then there is another guy, his name is Trump. Trump is responsible for this war. Okay, but there is another important player in this war scenario, and his name is Pete Hegseth. He is the Secretary of the War of the United States of America, and he is a highly conservative man. And it is, according to few news or the reports, it's believed that he is the guy who, in fact, pressurized Trump to wage a war against Iran. And interestingly, he is the man who also wrote few books. And one of the names of his book is, it was like American Crusade. American Crusade. And if you are familiar with the history of the Crusade Wars, I think you know very well about that. So, and obviously we can say that Iran factor, Khamenei factor, that was also a face value factor which is responsible for this war. But there are some other factors which are beyond the face value, are beyond the visible things. Like, I would say at the top, we cannot minus the Epstein files from this entire war project. You know what was the before the war? The whole world, from Africa to Europe to Asia to Pakistan, in the villages of the Pakistan, people were talking about the Epstein file. So Epstein file was everywhere before the war, and now Epstein files, it's nowhere. Why? Even when this issue was quite hot at that time, that before the start of the war, Trump visited Israel, and you know very well that Epstein file is all about the project of the Mossad. So I would say that it is a causal factor behind this war. And when we further jump to unfold that another invisible factor behind this war, I would use the religious argument, that is the eschatological utopian state. That is the dream of Iran, that is the dream of Israel. I would not say the dream of United States of America there. However, these two countries. So Israel wanted just an expansion in this Middle Eastern region, usually termed it as a Greater Israel Plan or the Greater Israel Project. Whereas what Iran is doing, Iran has its own. Iran wanted to, even in the past, in 1980s, when there was revolution in Iran, and then they said that no, our next destination is Pakistan. So we will bring revolution in Pakistan. So Iran is exporting revolution. It wants to export revolution. So overall, there is the ideology that is the factor which are not really visible. However, the last, because I'll definitely give this argument from my thesis that I have just argued in that thesis that the world is transforming from liberal to illiberal values and illiberal to further conservative values right now. So Donald Trump is conservative, Pete Hegseth is a conservative, Netanyahu is conservative, and many other leaders. You can see the story of India as well. Well, so these are the factors. So we can say that interplay of these factors basically in somehow causes this war. And when we move further, we want to understand what are actually the objectives in right now in this time. What are the objectives of the players in this game? And if you ask me the objective of Iran, I think at this moment Iran has two top objectives. One is to survive by any means. It's all about its survival mechanism of the state. And the second one is to raise the cost of the war for the United States of America and for the Europeans as well. And instead of making this a bilateral war, or the war between Israel and United States of America, Iran is trying to make this war as a regional war, and through blocking the Strait of Hormuz, Iran is making this war is a global war. Not if it's not successful in making it a global war, I think it will be successful in disturbing the, as Dr. Saeed mentioned, the global supply chain. Well, these are about the Iran. And when I talk about the objectives of the United States of America, I think US has one objective right now: finish this project, finish this war as early as possible, because the United States does not want to drag it further. And initially, United States of America had an idea to just will do few surgical strikes and will move forward. However, it was not in the calculation of United States of America that Iran will target its allied states, that's Qatar, Saudi Arabia, or UAE, as well as Iran will block the foreign states. So it is, you can say that it was out of syllabus. And then the Israel, like Iran, also wanted to expand this war. Israel, I think if you go through the Israelis' history, Israel right now, the chaos suits Israel. Stability in the Middle East does not suit Israel. So that is the one objective of the Israel. And to engage the US more and more in this war, at the same time engaging the Saudi Arabia and even the Arab countries against Iran, that's also another objective. Maybe I'm going to Azhar. So Arab world, like United States of America, want to finish this war as early as possible. Well, so these all are, according to my, you can disagree with me, these are the briefly, I'm just mentioning about the objective of these players in the region. Well, when we talk about this war scenario, about overall geopolitics, so under this broader umbrella of geopolitics, we see that this war is being fought in layers. The first layer is definitely a military layer, without any doubt, that deals with the missiles, the drones, the strikes, and people are also talking about that boots on the ground, though I don't think so that the United States will invade the Iran in that context, the way it invaded the Afghanistan or Iraq. However, the other layer is a psychological layer, or you can say that informational warfare, in which I think the entire global world is participating, epistemic community is participating. That's why you and me are sitting here. We're also contributing in that kind of a war. People are writing on Twitter and Facebook. They are just having TikToks there. So this is all about the epistemic communities and the information war. Israelis, they are having their own algorithms. They are trying to manipulate the minds of the consumers or the users. And similarly, Iranian have their own discourse as well. You see that story of the Pakistan, what the Shia communities always, they are living in Pakistan and they are also just promoting a certain kind of discourses, Sunni as well as the Shia. And I think I would like to highlight another important aspect, that is the domestic layer. And I think this is not the time of the domestic layer. Domestic layer, we will see that in the near future, like what I am meaning, there will be a change of regime in America, and at the same time change of regime in Israel. And after a certain period of time, maybe you can say the 10 years, 7 years, I think there will be a change of regime in Iran as well. But that change of regime will be in domestic in nature. That's just my understanding. Uh, so I think that coming back to Dr. Jahanzeb's question regarding the role of the Muslim world in managing this conflict, I don't think so that Muslim world has such kind of diplomatic skills, especially these Arab people. They don't have. Pakistan is doing at this time, I think, a wonderful job. However, I think it will definitely will be the China and Russia. They will play their role to mitigate this conflict in this region. Right now, China is in trouble, I would say, because due to the attack on the Iran attack on the LNG of the Qatar, and Qatar, the CEO of that LNG company, he just announced that we are going to shut down because they got, I guess, $20 billion loss, and they are just shutting down that LNG company for 3 years, and because it needs 3 to 5 years to for again once again for a better functioning, and they will definitely renegotiate the agreements with the other countries, obviously with the new rates. So a huge crisis, especially in this term of economy, the world is going to face. I think we have entered into a great recession once again, the way world entered in 1930s. So Muslims are not capable to handle this issue. That's my understanding. So this war, I think Iran is trying to drag more and more players in this war. It suits it. It suits Israel, but it does not suit Arab world. It does not suit United States of America. It does not suit even China at the same time. So it may take some time that this issue will be resolved, because after a certain period of time, I think there will the states or the actors, they need some time to manage their issues. So far, I think the status quo is going on.
Thank you, Mr. Azhar. Very nice of you. Again, a comprehensive and very insightful analysis, and particularly the way you explained that the Muslim countries does not have the capability or such sort of the diplomatic capability in the contemporary era and in the contemporary relations that they can solve this sort of conflict. And definitely, when they do not have that capacity, the major powers, the hegemonic powers, will obviously play their part to control this Middle East, maybe, but we can foresee in the near future. Okay, Ji, now we are left with only last 5 minutes. So if anyone want to raise any question, is most welcome. So within the 5 minutes, we will call it a night, and after it, we will have another session, and we will try that session would be a detailed session, because it's really enjoyable as well, and insightful as well, and very much up to the date information we are getting and analysis from such esteemed panel of our conversation today. So is there anyone who wants to raise any question? He is most welcome to unmute his or her mic and can ask question. I think there is none. If there is none, Dr. Saeed, can I ask you a question? Just a brief answer if you want to give. How do you
Welcome,
see,
please.
sir, how do you see the Venezuela's episode and link between this Iran conflict, particularly if I talk about one word, that is energy?
Okay, there is a difference between the two. Yeah, there is one similarity. Venezuela is the top country with respect to oil reserves, and followed by this Iran. So this is the similarity. But the difference is Iranian government, hardcore Iranian regime is there in Tehran and resisting brilliantly, I would say, United States of America and Israel. On the other hand, we know that what happened in Venezuela, no resistance whatsoever. Now, if we talk about energy, so that energy which is there in Venezuela, that is in the control of multinational corporations owned by United States of America. I mean to say influenced by United States of America. And that energy resources will be exported under the influence of United States of America to the world. So in this way, United States of America is winner. On the other hand, if you look into this Iran, not only Iran, but the Gulf countries, the flow of energy to the world is hampered upon. It will, as we know, honorable participants, honorable speakers mentioned, Dr. Sajid, Dr. Azhar, it will result in a global recession. So to be brief, it will hamper upon the international political economy, particularly with respect to flow of energy.
Thank you. Mr. Shahid Hussain, do you want to ask any question?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Janzeb sir. It's really honor to have all these esteemed scholars, and I really enjoyed the talk they have delivered so far. So thank you all the worthy speakers. So my question is this: that are we witnessing the slow sunset of US-led dollar order as China quietly, as we see that Iran has allowed that only the containers or the energy supply routes would be allowed if they pay in a yuan, so Chinese currency. So I need comments from our speakers that is the decline of dollar.
Well, we are running out of time, so if this session goes out, I would beg your pardon from all of you guys. And in next session, we will have a detailed question and answer session. But meanwhile, if Dr. Sajid, you can answer to this question, Mr. Shah's question, please.
Well, I think there are many consequences expected of this war, and one of those consequences is that the de-dollarization process will take speed.